Welcome to a story of audacity, deception, and the most famous landmark in Paris. This is the tale of how someone almost bought the Eiffel Tower. Our story begins in 1925, a time of vibrant life and underlying instability in Paris. To understand how someone could buy the Eiffel Tower, you have to understand Paris in 1925. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing, but France was still recovering from the devastation of World War I. The economy was shaky, and the city was expensive to run. And standing in the center of it all was the Iron Lady herself. But she didn't look like she does today. In 1925, the Eiffel Tower was actually a bit of a rust bucket. The paint was peeling, and the rust was spreading. Remember, Gustave Eiffel only built it for the 1889 World's Fair, and it was originally permitted to stand for only 20 years. By 1925, it was overdue for demolition. The newspapers were full of debates about whether the government should just tear it down to save money on maintenance and upkeep. Enter Count Victor Lustig. He was a multilingual, smooth-talking con artist who saw opportunity in this chaos. He wasn't actually a count, but he dressed like one. He had made a fortune scamming rich passengers on ocean liners. One morning, he was sitting in a cafe reading a newspaper article about the high cost of painting the tower. Most people saw a boring news story. Lustig saw the greatest opportunity of his life. He turned to his partner and effectively said, "I think I can sell that thing."
Welcome to Chapter 2, The Pitch, the story of the man who sold the Eiffel Tower. In the previous chapter, we met Victor Lustig, the master con artist. Now, let's see how he pulled off his audacious scheme. Lustig immediately sprang into action. His goal, sell the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal, a feat of pure deception. He hired a forger to create official government stationery with the seal of the quote, Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. Lustig then sent secret invitations to the top 5 scrap metal dealers in Paris, inviting them to a confidential meeting. The chosen venue for this clandestine operation was the Hôtel de Crillon, one of the most expensive and opulent hotels in the city. The Hôtel de Crillon provided the perfect backdrop of high status and exclusivity for the government-level deception.
When the dealers arrived, they were understandably nervous, expecting a highly sensitive government transaction.
Lustig played his part flawlessly, introducing himself as the Deputy Director General of the Ministry. At the head of the table, Lustig maintained a quiet, serious demeanor, lending authenticity to the high-stakes meeting. He leaned in and whispered the shocking news. "Gentlemen, the government is embarrassed. The tower is falling apart. We have decided to sell it for scrap, but this must be quiet." Lustig wasn't looking for the highest bidder. He was searching for the easiest mark. He spotted André Poisson. Poisson was new, insecure, and desperate to prove himself with a big deal. Poisson saw this as his opportunity to break into the inner circle of the Parisian scrap metal industry. But there was a snag. Poisson's wife was suspicious, noticing the extreme secrecy surrounding the sale. She pressed her husband, questioning why such a massive government deal was taking place in a hotel room and not a government office.
Poisson started to get cold feet and went back to Lustig, asking pointed questions about the highly unusual circumstances.
This is where Lustig proved his genius. He didn't back down or try to convince him otherwise. He confessed to being corrupt. He lowered his voice and said, "Monsieur Poisson, you are a man of the world. You know that government salaries are modest."
Lustig revealed that he was seeking, quote, "a little extra consideration to ensure Poisson would secure the winning bid." Lustig's request for a bribe was the paradoxical move that put Poisson at ease. He took the bait.
In Poisson's mind, an honest man might be a fake, but a corrupt one? That was business as usual. He now trusted Lustig. The bribery request confirmed, in Poisson's eyes, that Lustig was a genuine, albeit corrupt, government official.
Welcome to Chapter 3, The Payday, the culmination of one of history's most audacious scams, selling the Eiffel Tower. The moment of truth arrived. The buyer, André Poisson, was ready to finalize the transaction. Poisson handed over a massive certified check for the rights to the Eiffel Tower's iron, plus a large cash bribe for Lustig. In return, Lustig handed Poisson a worthless piece of paper, a bill of sale for the Eiffel Tower. With the scam executed, Lustig's priority was to disappear before the news broke. Less than an hour after the meeting, Lustig was on a train to Vienna, Austria, sitting in his first-class cabin with a suitcase full of cash.
He anxiously checked the newspapers every day, expecting to see a headline like, "Idiot buys Eiffel Tower," ready to flee to America the moment the story got out.
But the news never came. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into a month, with complete silence.
A day passed, then a week, then a month. There were no headlines, nothing.
André Poisson was so humiliated by being scammed that he never went to the police, preferring to lose his fortune rather than his reputation as the laughingstock of Paris. Lustig quickly realized the victim wasn't talking, and this silence sparked an even more audacious plan. Since no one knew the scam had happened, Lustig realized the Eiffel Tower was technically, quote, for sale again. The silence of the scammed paved the way for a second attempt.
6 months later, Victor Lustig traveled back to Paris. He returned to the scene of the crime 6 months later, under the radar.
He invited 5 new scrap metal dealers to the very same hotel and tried to sell the Eiffel Tower a second time.
He almost pulled it off, but this time, one of the dealers was cautious and went to the police to double-check the credentials. Lustig caught wind of the investigation just in time.
He fled to the United States just steps ahead of the law, narrowly escaping capture. He never sold it a second time, but Victor Lustig remains the only man in history to sell the Eiffel Tower once. Welcome to the incredible story of Count Victor Lustig, the man who famously sold the Eiffel Tower twice. After his infamous European escapades, Lustig took his confidence game to America, where he spent the next decade operating in the shadows. He operated across major U.S. cities like Chicago and New York, always looking the part in his signature fedora. Lustig's scams during this period were not just successful, they became the stuff of legend, cementing his reputation as a master con artist. Perhaps his most audacious con in America involved none other than the notorious mob boss, Al Capone. Lustig convinced Al Capone to invest a massive $50,000 in a rigged stock scam, a testament to his sheer persuasive ability. But when the deal was clearly going sour, Lustig miraculously returned the $50,000, managing to talk his way out of being killed by the notorious gangster. Beyond his cons, Lustig dabbled in counterfeiting, achieving a level of quality that was virtually undetectable. His counterfeit currency was so flawlessly executed that the Secret Service dubbed them the Lustig notes. The quality of his fake bills put the United States Secret Service on high alert, making Lustig a top priority target. But even for a master con artist, luck is a finite resource, and eventually, Lustig's incredible run came to an end. In 1935, his downfall was triggered by something as simple as a jealous mistress who tipped off the federal agents after discovering his affair with another woman. He was quickly captured, charged with counterfeiting, and faced the consequences of his long career of deception. His punishment was severe, marking the final chapter of the man who once claimed to own the Eiffel Tower. Victor Lustig was sent to Alcatraz, the infamous maximum security prison known as, quote, the Rock. He ended his days in a confined 5BY9 cell. On his death certificate, his occupation was ironically listed as, quote, apprentice salesman. The Eiffel Tower still stands strong and permanent today, a stark contrast to the life of the man who tried to sell it. Victor Lustig masterfully exploited a simple truth. If a lie is big enough and told with enough confidence, people will believe it. While Lustig tricked one man into seeing what wasn't there, he couldn't explain the psychological breakdown that led an entire city to dance until they died. In 1518, the dancing plague literally killed hundreds of people who couldn't stop moving their feet. This dancing plague is one of history's darkest mysteries. Click the link now to see the full documentary and uncover how a dance party turned into a massacre.